Hey everyone, J.K. Whited here from the Baseball Rebellion. Today, giving you another pro concept video here, and today I want to talk about release. And with the World Series being here and upon us, and being a great series going into Game 7, I wanted to use a home run from the other night that I saw, and the swing just looks so fluid here from Adam Eaton, and I wanted to use this as a good release video. So we're going to play it all the way through here one time, just so you can kind of see it. Full speed. Here we go again. Wham. Okay, so obviously I don't want to break down the whole swing here, just because we've done plenty of videos that cover that, but obviously you see the loading process. He doesn't really have a stride. He keeps his front big toe on the ground and has let his hip shift out as the elbow pulls back, so he's creating that resistance and that stretch in the back. Wonderful positioning head-wise. You can see him hinged in, right, and then also back. That's setting up his angle. And release is obviously something that happens at the very, very end of a swing. So if you don't have good hinges, you don't have good angles, you don't create a stretch, then this is kind of a subject that doesn't really pertain to you necessarily, but you can definitely learn from it and see it. And it's a product of a good stretch, a good fire of that stretch, and then obviously a release. And I'm saying this because I've actually had a lot of players recently coming in from practices and stuff and talking about their coaches want extension. And they do a lot of push to extension drills where they'll kind of stop halfway in their swing and then they'll push out to the ball. And the problem with that is that release and extension. So if we take him to extension somewhere right about here, so to speak, where his obviously the hands are as far extended away from the shoulders as possible, and obviously the barrel's out. When you look at that in a still picture, like, yeah, his arms are straight, but there's two ways to straighten your arms here when you swing a bat. One is to force extension as if you're doing a push-up or a bench press, or you're pushing something over that's heavy, and then there's release, and that's what you see here. So you got to be careful when you talk about extension to your players, or if you're a player, learning what extension really is. And I don't even like to use the word extension anymore in my lessons online and in person, because I think it forces the player to think, push the arms out hard, and the arms should never deliver the bat to the ball. Right? He's rotating, right? His hips are turning, the shoulders are rotating, the shoulders are delivering the barrel behind the ball, right? So right about here in this frame, you can see obviously the ball out in front. On the way down, you clearly see the downward angle of the ball. All right, you can clearly see the barrel has rotated down back here behind him, and now he's rotating it in the way of the ball. So this is obviously one of my favorite frames that I talk about a lot in my videos. So the barrel and the ball lining up, and obviously he's going to work up slightly up to this somewhat higher pitch. I'd say obviously belt high, so not terribly high, but not at the knees by any means. So a missed pitch by the pitcher, and a well-taken advantage opportunity by the hitter here. But he doesn't do everything exactly perfect. Like you can see his front knee actually still has some bend in it. He actually lets his head travel forward just a little bit here, but he does a good job of knowing and understanding, all right, I'm behind this ball, all right, I know where the barrel is. And that's the barrel awareness stuff too that is tough for a lot of players, because obviously the eyes have to be fixated on the ball and knowing when this barrel back here is in position during the turn. But then there's the let the energy out, okay? So once you kind of set up good stretching, good loading technique, good angles and postures, then you can work on obviously firing and snapping into that turn, and then releasing that energy out as opposed to extending out. So a lot of players do some stuff really nice at the beginning, and they get to this point and they're like, all right, I got to go get the ball now, and then they push and they extend their arms in a pushing, forceful manner as opposed to releasing energy out. And that's why this swing looks so fluid when you play it in full speed, is because the fluidity is caused by the releasing of energy, not the push. When you see people push, it looks kind of rugged. And sometimes, yeah, you'll see bigger players with a little bit of push in their swing that have some success, but ultimately pushing the contact will lead to downward movements of the barrel, and then obviously clipping under balls. So just a wonderful example of releasing to extension as opposed to pushing to extension, and that's why this is a well hit ball, obviously on plane and behind it, and releasing again through that ball, and then just continues to rotate. Always nice from a lefty, and righties can do it too. I think a lot of times righties cut their release off a little bit to maybe start running ahead of time, especially younger players. So take those full swings, guys. But yeah, so this is just a really good example of letting. He understands when to let everything go, kind of like a pitcher, and you don't want to force your arm to extension. You kind of let release happen, and your arm kind of unfolds out of your body, because obviously the body should be doing a majority of the work, and the arms aren't doing any hitting work here. They're just a vessel for energy to travel, from the body and through into the barrel, and then he releases his arms out, and that releases the barrel out. And in the barrel, the bat at this point kind of takes over and pulls the arms out away from the body and then around the body. So yeah, he continues to turn a little bit, but you can see his back shoulder stops, and the barrel then pulls him to his finish. So there's not a forced finish. There's not an over rotation. The barrel kind of pulls him back to around the end here. So again, it shouldn't feel like work, and that's when, as a player, it feels really nice because it doesn't feel like work, because literally contact shouldn't feel like the work is done or is being done. The work is done back here and accelerating the bat behind him, and getting to that point where he can release out, and then he's letting go here. Like, that's the thing. You see him here, he's kind of letting go. He's not really doing anything anymore. He's letting the energy take itself out. And then that's where the fluidity and the easy power comes into play, and it looks really silky smooth. So obviously a great swing and a big moment here in the World Series. Hoping to see some more coming up in Game 7. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and let me know if you have any comments or questions.